Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the new SBC stones to review today. So we're taking a look at a card that is 6'2", high medium work rates, right-footed, 3-star skills with a 4-star weak foot. In regards to his in-game player traits, he has the long throw-in traits. In-game abilities, got 72 acceleration with 81 sprint speed. So the pace is low, right? Especially with the way that the game kind of plays out nowadays. I would actually prefer to have the acceleration be higher than the sprint speed because it's all about that initial boost that you really need when it comes to defenders and attackers. But you can definitely work with that, obviously, with the 72 acceleration, 81 sprint speed, because with the Shadow Chemistry style, we will be boosting it to an 82 for acceleration with a 91 for sprint speed. But like I said, the acceleration is kind of low for the meta nowadays, right? This card offers no shooting presence, but his passing presence is pretty decent at 87 short passing, 82 long passing, while having a 4-star weak foot. So 4-star weak foot is incredibly helpful for those situations. He does have high medium work rates, which is definitely going to be very interesting to see how, that kind of plays out in game. Dribbling on the card is pretty good for a center back. It's actually really good for a center back. He's got a 77 agility with 70 balance, reactions at a 90 with 86 ball control, 75 for dribbling, and 83 for composure. Now, for this card, there's a couple of variables to consider, right? So the dribbling stats look great, but he is a high and average plus body type, right? So that's always something that you have to consider when looking at the dribbling, acceleration to the body type that the players usually have when they're center backs, midfielders, attackers, whatever it is, right? His base card stats for defending is pretty solid, actually, right? Because with the Shadow Chemistry style, you will be significantly boosting all the main areas of the card for him to essentially be a top-class center back. And then last but not least, we have his physical stats that are, again, very good. He's got 85 aggression, which is actually very helpful for him being a center back, with 84 strength, 84 for stamina, while having 88 jumping. So the only real problem with this card is the fact that his acceleration is not that high up. Now, this card right now, as an SBC, costs 145k, right? So that's what it says on Footbin. It might go lower afterwards, depending on the types of teams that people end up building, right? But 145 for this type of card, if you are looking at the aspect of, just getting this Joe Gomez card and putting him at center back, like I'll tell you guys this right now, this Joe Gomez card at 30k, 40k that he is right now as a tradable card is definitely going to perform better than John Stones. But we'll see. The reason why I say this is because the acceleration is low, but we're going to see what it's like in game, right? So we'll try him out in a 3-5-2 formation where he'll be playing as the center back. While we have Ansu Fati and Ferland Mendy on the sides. And then we'll also try him out in our regular 4-2-3-1 tactics that's based off of 4 and 4 for our defensive tactics. So balance 4 and 4 seems to work out really nicely this year for that middle to be as congested as possible while working the sides as well. We have the instructions of just basic stuff here. So we have all these guys on stay back while attacking, but for the sake of the review, we can actually tell the fullbacks to be on balance, so they're kind of caught out of position more often. We'll actually do the same thing for the CDMs as well. We'll make them move freely, so that way we can actually kind of see what he's like in the defensive areas. So yeah, we'll try him on the 4-2-3-1. We'll see how he plays in game. Hopefully he's a beast. Like I said, I think the acceleration is the only thing that's a downfall with the card, right? It's always good to give a predetermined judgment on a card, to kind of decide whether or not you want to do the SBC. But obviously for the YouTube channel, I do all the SBCs regardless of it being worth it or not worth it in my eyes, because I want to test them out regardless, right? So who knows? Maybe the acceleration being low doesn't really bother me that much, right? Some cards do that to you, because even Van Dijk's card is in a very similar situation. So if I search Van Dijk's card, Van Dijk also has 82 acceleration, right? He's got 82 acceleration with 89 sprint speed, but as you guys know, the guy is a defensive AI monster, right? So these are the types of things that you test out in game. So we'll see, man, because even with this card, you can see that it basically maximizes his defensive capabilities. I'm not a huge fan of Van Dijk this year, but it's because of the defensive playstyle that I want to play. But is Van Dijk hard to pass this year? He definitely is. So yeah, we'll switch to the 4-2-3-1. We'll see what's up. There we go. Players are caught out of position. Yeah, you can see that his acceleration is really slow, guys. Just me chasing after the player right there was kind of a problem, right? So if you do want to unlock a card like this, you're going to have to definitely switch your defensive tactics, because if he's ever caught out of position, that emphasis in his run is definitely going to be a nuisance from time to time for sure.
Solid style of play, no nonsense. Top pro for me.
Possession-based tackle right there. We'll definitely take that. Nicely done. Yeah, you be careful if you use tactics like team press and stuff. That's what I'm going to say. But again, it's the same thing with like Van Dijk's, right? So we'll keep experimenting.
Oh, good vision. Keeper had work to do. So now
His high medium work rates in that situation was actually kind of noticeable in regards to how he defends. So that part of the card, 100% a noticeable thing, dudes.
looks promising this. And on to Felix.
And that's the shot cancel right there. Make him think we're going to go near post. He blocks that angle. Trigger that animation with the defender. We score that opportunity. Nicely done.
Chance to do damage. Moving the ball nicely. Trying to carve out the equaliser. Well-timed tackle.
See, that initial acceleration that Koundé has, right? Where his body type allows him to just freely move across the pitch really smoothly with the acceleration and sprint speed that he has. It makes these guys meta-oriented in regards to that type of stuff, you know? So, it's always something to look at when it comes to how a center back performs. Because Koundé is probably the best gameplay objective card we got. Like, I was surprised to get him, to be honest with you. Good links, a good center back, you know? Can't go wrong with players like that for sure. See what his dribbling is like. Yeah, his dribbling is nice, though. Those base card stats for his dribbling is actually noticeably good. That pass was 100% my fault, and he actually did a great job right there defensively. Height definitely helped in a situation like that, and good base card stats for defense. Like I said, guys, the acceleration is... It's not a huge problem. You just have to, you know, you have to defend a certain way when you have low acceleration. Like I said, people destroy others when they use players like Van Dijk, and they still do work with cards like that. So, again, it's not entirely a bad thing. It's just something that you have to consider if you want to play any sort of defensive style, right? At least his tracking back was pretty good right there. I pushed him out of position on purpose just to see what he was like moving in those areas. Woo! That shot cancel was crazy, man. That was sick. The goalie responded as well as the defender right there to score that opportunity. Nice. Shot cancel is ridiculous because of how it triggers a defensive animation, but you know why I taught you guys that shot cancel? It's because it makes this game focus more on attacking than it does defending, because if the other person does it against you, at least it's a goal for goal rather than it is like defensive AI versus defensive AI, you know what I mean? Yeah, so like I said, guys, in regards to Stones' card, the biggest noticeable thing is obviously the acceleration when caught out of position. But again, it's a very similar situation when you are using Van Dijk. So you do have to be careful with cards like this, because that combination that he has of high medium work rates with low acceleration isn't necessarily great, right? But if you can kind of, you know, get those right defensive tactics to keep him in the right areas, it'll definitely be very ideal. But we'll switch to the 3 at the back formation for now, and we'll see what's up with this card.
Defensive acumen to cut it out.
Stones actually tracks back really nicely. Yeah, his track back was really good right there. From the corner kick, obviously he's one of the players that, you know, goes for the corner kick because he can win the ball in the air really nicely. But his track back was pretty fast right there. You notice the acceleration part of the card initially while he was tracking back, but after he got that sprint speed, the sprint speed being at 91 was super noticeable there.
On attacking possibilities.
He actually rotated with the other player right there. That was interesting. You can see that Wan-Bissaka started to go into the middle, so Stones occupied his position. It just depends on how your team rotates, really, when it comes to them doing that. Let's put some team press on to get the players out of position a little bit more.
Important that he retains possession.
Yeah, I do think his dribbling on the ball as a center back is actually pretty solid. Lovely stuff. I could just shoot that, but I just really like doing the shot cancel. I like making the goalie react as much as I can, you know? That shot cancel is so crazy. It just lets you touch the ball a certain way for you just like to accelerate in the right spaces. Because over there, I was not going to shoot that. Like, if it's Virgil, like, good luck, you know? There's Stones right there at the interception. I really like his dribbling. His dribbling, I wish most of the center backs had his dribbling. It's really, really nice on the ball.
And it's a matter of what occurs in the final 15 minutes.
There, I'm trying to push players out of position here. Let me switch off him here. There we go. Block this space here. He has like this he has like this pull about him, you know? Like even when I try to stop and just try to accelerate in the other direction, you kind of have to control it a certain way, right? But that's why I always mention, like, that's why I always prefer to have the acceleration over the sprint speed. Because, again, if you set up your defense a certain way, having that initial acceleration to boost into the play immediately is more important. But obviously having both is ideal. Well, at least he goes for the animation there to try to intercept. We do have that on, so it makes sense that he goes for it. Yeah, I'm not crazy about this card. Like these types of things, guys, when it comes to center backs, like you notice right away. Like I said, his acceleration will present to be a problem if you want to defend in any way that you want. But defensively, guys, he is a good center back, right? Which is like most of the center backs in this game. Like they just have a strong defensive presence, but it's that meta characteristic of having acceleration and sprint speed that definitely lacks with this card for sure. Alright guys, so final verdict on the Moments John Stones card. So like I said before the review even happened, the acceleration part is genuinely the only problem with the card in regards to that full meta capability, right? Like obviously he was playing next to Koundé, but if you take a look at Koundé's card, there's a reason why he's meta-oriented, right? Dribbling, defense, physical, he's got the pace, you give him a shadow, body type with pace works great, right? So it was the same thing from his first version when that came out. So for the meta concept, the only thing that he's genuinely missing is the acceleration parts. Now, the thing that kind of works a little bit strange with this card is the fact that he doesn't have the acceleration, but he also has the high-medium work rate. Now, with a player like Van Dijk, because his work rates are medium, it's not as big of a problem to not have that acceleration. However, defensively, both players are really good, but Van Dijk is just freaking massive in game, right? Like this guy is huge. He even has the unique body type because of how big he actually is, right? So defensive AI-wise, a card like Van Dijk in your team is going to make the craziest of blocks for you, right? Whereas John Stones, you know, that body type is not the same, but defensively, he's also very good because the shadow chemistry style, boosting these defensive stats as much as possible, is a noticeable thing in game. The only thing, like Van Dijk, that you have to be careful of is the acceleration part of the card. If John Stones had the same body type as Van Dijk, then he would be a defensive monster, right? But the body type, you know, makes him defend a little bit differently, right? So he does have the high and average plus body type over here, but in a way, it's kind of like a lean body type in the game as well in regards to like how he moves across the pitch. It's not lean, it's like an above lean, if that makes any sense, right? But like I said, guys, the only thing that I really had a problem with was the acceleration of the card. I think everything else about it is actually pretty great. His dribbling on the ball is fantastic. Transitioning left and right is okay because if the acceleration was higher, it would actually be way quicker, like you noticed Koundé doing, obviously. But defensively, he was very good. His physical presence was awesome. He is a 6'2" player, so he can win the ball in the air really nicely. I think for 145K, for the concept of the card and the fact that he's probably not going to get any more cards in the future and you want to get that English Manchester City link in your Premier League teams, it's not bad in regards to that. But if you're looking for an English center back that plays in the Premier League, someone like Joe Gomez at 30K, or I think he's at 30K nowadays. Let me see. Someone like Joe Gomez, 83 rated card at 26.5K. This card is better than the John Stones card, right? But, you know, over here we do SBCs, we do all these types of reviews for the concept of the card and what you can work with for the fun aspect of your team, right? But would I personally do the SBC myself? Not necessarily, because if I could just use a Joe Gomez and, you know, work with that, I would work with that. But again, with Stones, you are working with that triple link setup with Kyle Walker. Maybe you want to put Ederson in your team. It really just depends on the links you want to work with in your squads, right? So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the review. Like I said, guys, the acceleration is the only real problem for me. But like I said, people like using Van Dijk, even though his acceleration is low. I think Van Dijk's a fraud this year because I like to have that acceleration sprint with my center backs, but it really just depends on how you want to play in game. Everything else about the card is perfectly fine. It's just that one part. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.